All right, good morning, class. The purpose of this lesson here is to basically, um, I just basically want to just do a video of the lesson today so that you can go at your own pace. All right, just in the event that I'm not able to make it, then for some reason to the lesson today, then you can just watch this video and it will take you through everything. So you're going to access your lesson by going to the one pager, and of course you're going to pick whichever class you're in. Okay, all right. So just pick your class right here, Thursday, Friday. This is supposed to be actually 11/12, not March the 5th. So that's a mistake on my part. That'll be fixed by the time that you see this video. So you click on this, it's going to take you to the Paradeck Inverse Functions Part 2 Algebra. Okay, so we're going to graph and write the inverse of a function using notation such as f inverse of x. So indulge me. On this slide, what I'm going to do is just draw or tell me what you have planned for spring break. So that's what this slide is about. On this slide, this is the main thing that we want to do today. We want to graph an inverse function, find and graph an inverse function algebraically. So the first thing we're going to do with all these examples is going to replace the f of x with a y, with y. Then we're going to switch the places of x and y. Then we're going to solve the equation for y, and that's where you'll need these inverse operations. No, where you have addition, you're going to have to use subtraction. Where you have multiplication, you have to use division. Where you use a square, you're going to use a square root. And when we have a cube, you're going to use a cube root. Just follow the examples and you should be fine. And finally, you replace y with f inverse of x. So let's look at a few examples. Okay, again, these are the steps. So here's one example. It's done kind of like the way you would do it. All right, we have f of x equals to 2x plus 4. Okay, step one, you're going to replace the f of x with y. And so that's what we did. Now we have y equals to 2x plus 4. Step two, we're going to switch or exchange x and y. Change the y to x, change the x to y right here. Okay, you can also switch sides if you want. Like now you have x equals, you can put the x on the other side and 2y plus 4 on this side. It's okay. That's fine as long as you switch both sides. Okay, but that's not necessary. That's not a deal breaker. You don't have to do that. But if you like solving with y on the left, then that just makes it easier, more comfortable. Right, so we'll solve for y. We're going to subtract from both sides, subtract 4 from both sides, and then we're going to divide everything by 2. When we divide 2y by 2, the 2's cancel out. You're left with y. X minus 4 divided by 2 is just x minus 4 divided by 2. So y equals to x minus 2, x minus 4 divided by 2 is your inverse function. So change the y to f inverse of x and leave everything else the same so that you can write it in the inverse notation. All right, that's one example. Let's look at another example. Okay, change the f of x to y. That's what we're doing the first step. So now we got y equals 8x minus 5. Switch x and y. Now we're x equals 8y minus 5. Then you can solve for y. See here we just left the 8y on the right. You can solve it. It still works the same way. Okay, same way. Right here, yeah, this is right. Divided both sides by 8, and you have the answer there. Okay. All right. You can always pause the video if you want to see that again, or if you just want to take it slowly. All I'm doing is just basically reading off the examples. So look at the example. Look what we did to the f of x. See how we switched it? And then we just solve for y. In this particular example, there are two operations. You got y plus 7 divided by 2. And since that 2 is kind of grouped, then we got to take care of the division first. The opposite of division is to multiply. Multiply both sides by 2. You do that. then the 2's cancel out, and you'll just be left with y plus 7, and then multiply x by 2, and then you have 2x minus 7, subtract 7 from both sides. You have 2x minus 7 equals to the inverse of x. F inverse of x. Let's keep going. So, based upon those examples, indicate on this slide how well you understand. Give me a true or false. Are you at 80%? Maybe not 100%. If you're at 80% or above, give me a true. If you still think you need some more help, then give me a false. Okay. So here's another example. He didn't quite finish this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it here. Let's see. Let me play it here. See if I can get you. All right, here we go. This is the third example. Okay. Same for steps. Replace f of x with y. Exchange x and y. Solve for y. Replace y with f inverse of x. So here's the function. We're going to replace the f of x with y. Okay. Then we're going to change the x and y, switch places. Okay. All right. So now let's solve for y. The y plus 1 is underneath the cube root. But before we can get to that, we got to get rid of the 3. So we need to add 3 to both sides. When we add 3 to both sides, we've isolated the cube root. Now we can the opposite of the cube root, the inverse operation for cube root is a cubic. Raise everything to the third power, both sides. So I raise x plus 3 to the third power, and I raise the cube root of y plus 1 to the third power. And those are going to cancel. The cube root and the cubic are going to cancel, and just leave you y plus 1 and x plus 3 cubed on the left. All you got to do is subtract 1 from both sides, and now you have x plus 3 cubed minus 1 is equal to y. So our inverse operation is just change y to f inverse of x, and now you have your answer there. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so let's look at another example. You can pause the slide this video so you can look at this in more detail. Okay. All right. So, are you still 80%? Are you ready to do some practice? Indicate on this slide true or false. All right. So now, what I want to do with slides 1A, this is slides 12, 13, 14, and 15. What I want to do those slides, I want you to show your work on this slides. Find the inverse function. Now, on slide number 16, I have the problem, I have the function, and what answer you should get. So what you're doing is showing the work. How do you apply those 4 steps so that you start at 1A and you end up with 1B? Show the work. Most of these are like 2 steps. Matter of fact, I only see one that has 3 steps, and that will probably be 4, maybe. That may be 1, 2. So 2B, 2A and 4A will probably be the only ones I think are to have more than 2 steps. They might have 3, but that's it. So you want to make sure that you show your work on 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A, and those are your answers. Then fill in your reflection. What did you like? What didn't you like? What was easy? What was hard? And then lastly, do this one. And that's basically what the lesson is today. Okay? So summarize 2 things you did learn in today's lesson. And once you've done that, you're done. Have a wonderful spring break.